This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, verse 24. Again, say not, I have enough, and possess many things, and what evil shall I have hereafter? In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction, and in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren teaching his word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, shalom. I'm the brother Damar Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, and as it says here, in the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction, and in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. All right. And we saw, the people over there in those different Gulf states and Saudi Arabia, and Iran and the land of Israel, and soon, eventually all over the world, this is getting ready to be a major theme in this earth, and especially to, 2/3 of our people and just a lot of these, especially a lot of these just people in general that are caught up in the love of life. All these people that are, unmindful of prophecy. They're unmindful of the seriousness of the times that we're in. A lot of these people are under the impression that, we're not in a time of war, that we're not in a time of evil, we're not in a time of hate, that we're not in a time of judgment of the Heavenly Father, and that all of this wickedness, all of this pride, all of this just BS that's going on around the world, these people are not in the understanding that is getting ready to be addressed in a major way by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, this whole situation that just happened over there in Iran caught a lot of people off guard, and I was reading this article right here, which it says, it's from The Guardian. It says, Dubai influencers' lives of luxury interrupted by Iran strikes. The image of safety has been shattered, you see? And just like that, these people, and you had a lot of Jake over there. I saw videos of, nigga women and Jake men, nigga men, Israelites over there in Dubai, giving their little sob stories, giving you their account of how the bombs just started dropping out of nowhere and it felt like an earthquake and, it shook them to the core. We're from the States. We're not used to all of this. Well, you had no business being over there in the first place. You see now, and this is the problem that a lot of our people has, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and even these other nations and these other influencers from America that are over there in Dubai, they had a very rude awakening, Now, of course, we know that they're over there for what? For prosperity, to living their luxurious lives, being their influencers, making a lot of so-called money, living these flashy lifestyles. And one of the main themes when I'm not going to read this article because it's long as shit, but I read it all, the most of it. But one of the main sentiment that these people kept saying was that we're safe here. We're safe. I still feel safe. This is the safest place. This one of these dudes talking about I can wear my $60,000 watch here. They're living in these $1 million hotels and high rises. They feel like they're in the safest place on the planet. But look how all of a sudden all of that day of prosperity was forgotten when those bombs started dropping and those sirens started to go off. And it's synonymous with the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this is why the Lord has set up the prophets and the men of the Lord to give our people warning. And if any of our people was paying attention to what the true influencers, the true, leaders of our people, which are the prophets, had been telling them, they wouldn't have been over there in the first fucking place. And like I said, you got a lot of our people, be trying to flex and trying to, appear as if they got it going on, appear if they got money. And what is one of the main places you got to go to flex and to show people that you got it going on is to go to Dubai, which we know a lot of these women are going to Dubai to become human porta potties. All right. To go over there to get paid to do some of the most despicable, nasty, low, degrading acts just to get some money to come back home and act as if they went there on a business trip, or they went there to chase the bag, or they went there to do some modeling. No, you went over there to get shat on. Okay. I'm talking about a lot of these women, man. And like I said, you have some men going out there, like I said, it's just for a flex. It's just for them to, to try to show the world that they got it going on. But well, hey, when those bombs started dropping, all of that peace and safety and feeling secure and all that stunting and trying to live the high life went totally out the window. And all of that prosperity and peace and feeling safe went right out the window. You see, and that's how quickly the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai can fall down upon these people, and especially on our people, man. You see, because we're not in the time to be, doing all this jet set and doing all of this traveling. Now there's all these talks of sleeper cells being awoken here at Babylon the Great. Now there's a more sense of danger, more sense of uncertainty. Now they're telling you at any moment, so-called terrorist attacks could happen all across America, shit, all across the world, While people are playing games and not taking the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh seriously, hey, you people, you Jake better wake up, especially you Jake, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, because we're not in the time of love and peace. We're in the time of war. They're in the time of hate. We're in the time of judgment, man. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. Hey, and the evil days are here. And like I said, even right now, hey, these evil days are on sleeper cell, is on sleeper terrorist mode. Now they're saying that there's some 1,800 known sleeper cells here in America that could be activated by Iran and by this particular situation here. So now they're telling you to avoid huge crowds, avoid venues, avoid going here, avoid going there. And we know a lot of people in their pride and their arrogance, especially our people, going to say, I ain't trying to hear that shit. Fuck that. I'm going to go, Jake loved the party and bullshit. They don't want to take the warning serious. Shit, they don't even take the warning serious from the prophets and the men of the Lord. How much more are they not going to take serious, these other so-called warnings, man? You see, because our people are, they're very rebellious and a very childish like people. And they're going to have to find out the hard way, just like those Jakes that was doing those videos over there in Dubai, telling you how shook and how scary it was and how we ain't used to this. And I just came here to, to have a little bit of fun. I came here to escape the reality of, to escape the reality of, what I'm going through in the States. Come here to have a good time. Well, that good time in the blink of an eye turned to terror and affliction and you fearing for your life. And a lot of those Jakes, that's Americans that are over there in Dubai, are still stuck there. Still hoping and praying that somehow America's gonna send an envoy to pick you up and to safely get you out of there. Well, hey, you better hope and pray that the Lord is with you, because you might just not make it. And as we see in the 5th day of this war, that hey, there's gonna be more bombs, there's gonna be more missiles dropping. You better you better hope and pray that the Most High is with you, man. Because otherwise, hey, you could become another casualty of that situation. It says, nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. You see? So, seeing all these things which are happening, hey, it's been time for our people to remember the Creator, for our people to return back to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, to understand prophecy, to understand the times that we're living in, to understand what type of spirit you need to be in, and what you ultimately need to be chasing is the mercy and the favor of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, not the bag, not these stupid ass vacations, not becoming an influencer, not trying to figure out a way to where you could, solidify yourself in this current world, because this current world is on its way out. All right. They're talking about how bad this war, the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, how bad it could bring, economic ruin to a lot of the places around the world. It's going to cause oil prices to get to skyrocket. I was listening to the elder brothers from Dallas and London, and I was breaking down in the algorithm how, a lot of the food and services that's a lot of the food and services over there in Dubai and in those Gulf states have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Well, guess what? The Strait of Hormuz is closed, so there ain't shit coming through there. Whatever usual victuals and food and water and things of that nature that flows through through that strait, through that body of water to go into these different Gulf states to provide their citizens with water and food and the daily essentials that need to be shipped in there. Hey, those things ain't coming. See? So and that whole Dubai situation is out in the middle of nowhere, a land barren and desolate, man. Hey, they don't have, they're not growing crops, they're not growing food, they barely eat, they don't even have drinkable water like that to provide for those people, man. So you're gonna what? It's a possible huge famine that could come to that place because of this war. But you got Jake going out there thinking everything is all good and they all right and God got you. Well, God got you in a hell of a situation now, don't he? And it don't seem for sure if a lot of you Jakes are going to make it out of there, man. But even if you do make it out of there, what are you going to do? You're going to come back home to a situation to where high terror attacks are on high alert, man. So you're going from one bad situation to a potentially another bad situation. You see, and this is why, hey, our we need to be figuring out how to please Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, and making sure that we're in the right spirit and that we're up on what's really going on around in this world and moving cautiously, moving circumspectly. This is Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. You see, and our salvation is very nigh. All right, because we understand what this whole Iran and Israel and America situation is going to ultimately lead to in the long run. It's going to lead to this third world's woe. It's going to lead to what? The return of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai Hamashiach in the midst of this third war. You see, so now there's more than ever to wake out of sleep, man. You see, but like I said, a lot of our people are still asleep, man. They still caught up in this world. They still invested in the love of this world. And what is that? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, party and bullshit and traveling, flexing on the gram, all this shit that don't mean anything at the end of the day. And that's not pleasing in the sight of the Heavenly Father. They're in tune with things that's not, leading to salvation, but to death and destruction and brutal judgment. It says, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on therefore the armor of light. You see, cast off all the works of darkness, man. Put off this black culture. Put off, all of this worldliness, man. Because like I said, what is the love of the world? The lust of, the love of the world is the flesh. Wickedness, adultery, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, man. Everything that feeds the appetite of the flesh, which ultimately those things lead to death, man. It says, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and in drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. You see? And this is what the majority of our people are into right now, is what? Making provision for the flesh. They want to do what they want to do and party and bullshit and drink and smoke and commit adultery and steal and pop pills and do drugs. And, like I said, the Israelite woman go to Dubai to chase the bag to get shitted on, man, and vomited on and all type of other vile, depraving acts just for what? To make a little bit of money, and to come home and act as if they got their shit together. But really, the way you got that money was complete, and you were completely humiliated to get that shit. See? So, hey, that ain't where it's at, man. It's all through it's all in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Be ye not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. And this is what all the lust of the flesh provide you with, man. All of these things that's gonna leave you out of the kingdom of the Most High. But we know that the majority of our people, man, they're not seeking after the kingdom, and they ain't checking for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. A lot of our people are too invested and too deeply rooted in this world and in black culture and all this bullshit to where they think they got it already, but really, they have no idea. But let's read this in the NLT. 1 Corinthians 6:9 in the NLT, it says, "Don't you realize that those who do wrong will not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Don't fool yourselves. Those who indulge in sexual sin, or who worship idols, or commit adultery, or are male prostitutes, or practice homosexuality, or are thieves, or greedy people, or drunkards, or abusive, or cheat people, none of these will inherit the kingdom of the Most High." It says, "Some of you were once like that, but you were cleansed. You were made holy. You were made right with the Most High by calling on the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach and by the Spirit of our power." You see, and that's why I read that Ecclesiastes 12. You got to remember the Creator in the days of thy youth, man. The Lord wants you while you're young. The Lord wants you while you're still usable. Not saying that, particular brothers that come into this truth as older men, that this don't apply to them. But for the most part, you want to clean yourself up as early as possible, especially in this wicked, vile ass world that we're in, man. You see, you're supposed to be cleansed of all of these things. But like I said, the majority of our people, they don't want to be clean. They don't want to be cleansed because why? Their deeds are evil and they don't want to be reproved. A lot of Jake is very comfortable in being niggas, being black, being Mexican, being Puerto Rican, being Americans, man, which is nothing more but a filthy, nasty covering that's totally conformed and attuned with the flesh and with wickedness and with all the works that's going to leave them ultimately destroyed and shut out of salvation from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. Hey, and suddenly is the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to start falling upon this world, man, and these people of this world, just like it did over there in Dubai. They went from one day feeling safe to being secure to one day. Look at the guy in the middle says Dubai isn't safe anymore. And in this article, they were saying this place is safe. I can wear my $60,000 watch. It's okay, and I don't have no fears. But that shit went from peaceful to fearful in the blink of an eye and in a moment. You see, because what scriptures say, suddenly shall the terror of the Lord can fall upon anybody, man. You see, and this is why scriptures tell Jake, hey, put not off from turning to the Lord. As a matter of fact, let me get that. Then I'm gonna close that. And make no tarrying, man. Yep, Ecclesiastes 5:7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Hey, and you had particular people over there in Dubai perish. Some people got taken back to the spirit world over there. Like I said, the other day you had that so-called terrorist attack here with that black ass Hamite looking dude. Which he could have been a Jake. Who knows? I know he had a Hamite sounding name. Whether it was staged or whether it was real. Hey, look what happened. I'm pretty sure the people that got took back to the spirit world, the last thing they was expecting was to have to be caught up in that situation. It came suddenly. You see, and it can be like that. For anybody. See, this is why it's important for you to turn to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and make no tarrying, man. Because just like that, hey, the terror of the Lord can come and catch you off guard, catch you when you least expect it, man. So we want to make sure we're in good standings with the Lord, so we can be delivered and preserved from these judgments that are out here, and that's going to continue to intensify as we get closer to the end, man. So with that, I'm gonna close it there. I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai for putting the spirit in me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you edify it. Until the next one, shalom.